Survival crafting in Egypt is all I needed to hear to get me to purchase Soulmask. Recently hitting its 1.0 build a few weeks ago and releasing the new map as a free upgrade if you bought before a certain date made this a no-brainer for me to pick up and jump into. Soulmask's story is actually quite an interesting one and sets up the rest of the future mechanics in this game. You are the sole survivor of your tribe. Upon escaping the massacre of your tribe, you come across this mask. The mask grants you the ability to become a god. Use it to recruit followers, build your own tribe from the ground up, killing further gods to take their powers, which are then harnessed in different masks, and ultimately take down the final boss after many hours of crafting, building, and micromanaging your settlers. Soulmask is an insanely unique game in the sense of I haven't played anything like it before. It really does offer something different, but the issue here is that this game is so vast. I do need to split this up a little bit so I can kind of get the coherency I need to talk about this properly. So let's start here. To kick off, you can play this game in 3 different ways. Tribe management heavy, survival crafting with tribe management, and then essentially like an action game closer to, I guess, Elden Ring. So already off the bat, there are multiple ways to play this, and this will affect the way you play. For me personally, I picked the survival crafting as it gave me a balance of all 3, and I wanted to experience all 3. After selecting your playstyle and getting through the intro, you get to make your character, which offers some customization options, which, It's got customization. Oh, fuck it, I've lost my train of thought for some reason. Anyway, the mask can be customized as well, and then you're thrown straight into it. Now, if you're coming from a survival crafting game like Valheim, Enshrouded, or Windrose, or something similar, you might feel a little out of your depth at first, as this game has so much more than just typical surviving crafting elements. There is the basics, get tree, get thatch, build, and then, you start to flesh out your base. Then there is the crafting. The crafting in Soulmask is, again, similar, and I use those words very loosely, to Valheim, Enshrouded, or Windrose, in the sense that you get different benches, and different benches can offer you different things. Wood, woodworking, smelting, smithing, weaving, potion making, whatever. However, this might have one of the most extensive and overwhelming amount of items that you can craft that I have ever seen in one of these kind of games. To craft one thing could require multiple crafting tables to reach the final product, and crafting is no joke in this game. Some items can take anywhere from 10 seconds to multiple minutes just to craft one piece of an overall thing you're trying to make, which can become like, damn, this is a lot. But fear not, this is where we can recruit followers to the tribe by, I don't know, stealing their souls, I guess. Then they come and live with you and work for you and the tribe. And you can grow your tribe up to a massive scale, and you can recruit pretty much anyone you want. Each recruit has their own skills, proficiencies, and abilities that makes finding the perfect recruit in that particular thing you're looking for a never-ending quest all on its own. Once you have them, you can begin to set up their routines and their structure of each day, what they're doing, what bench they're maintaining, what items do they need to keep a stock of. They can tend to your farms, they can look after your livestock, and even sort out your inventory systems for you, as long as you do the initial setup of which box should hold what. You could then go off adventuring, come back with pocketfuls of loot, dump it into a dump chest, and watch as they scurry about, quickly putting it away exactly where it needs to be. Which, if you're like me and my OCD ass that needs to have a storage room that makes sense, but you hate maintaining it, it really does do a great job of automating a system that can otherwise be a massive pain in the ass. You can also possess any of your followers and turn them into your new main character, as, like I said, each tribe member has their own skills and abilities which you might kind of want to harness, and it's actually a really cool system that is almost like a hive mind. At the same time, you could also do none of that if you like to maintain your own stuff, and that is kind of the beautiful aspect of the tribe system. The ability to pick and choose what aspects you want to focus on and what you would like to maintain control of, it's all there. There is also bosses you need to go kill to progress and pick up new masks which grant you new abilities and powers. There is dungeons that you can enter into and clear which are vast and sometimes a hell of a challenge challenge, but fear not, you can also bring the tribe folk with you. Just make sure they're kitted up and good to roll, and you can enter the dungeon with your team of mindless killing machines, so you can just stand back and watch as they destroy everything if you really wanted to. You also, on top of the base building, have ship building. Yes, they have vehicles in this game, which you can start off by having a land version before eventually turning it into a floating base that you can literally over time end up carrying your workers, your chests, the crafting benches, and literally anything you can pretty much think of. This is honestly one of the craziest mechanics that, on top of everything else, sets this game apart from anything else like it on the market right now. And it is genuinely cool as shit to walk around your flying base with your minions. That isn't to say that you can't also have a ground base as well, or even several ground bases if you are so inclined. The building system, whilst a little clunky and confusing at first, is a robust and interesting one that adds a lot of elements over time, which I think honestly is a good point for us to start talking about more in depth on the systems for a minute. This game has a lot, and I mean a lot of systems. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but I am saying that for you to be sort of aware of it. This is not a light or easy game to get into. You'll find yourself hitting escape until you learn the hotkeys quite a bit, then being vastly overwhelmed by the sheer amount of different pieces of information, trees, skills, management aspects, and other stat-based screens you have access to. Don't worry, this is normal, and it will get better eventually. It is really not uncommon to be sort of looking at something, then escape, and then realize, oh shit, I didn't take it in, or I need to do something else there. Then you go back, and it's like you've had the fucking Man in Black use the neuralizer on you. You stare at it dopey, fucking stupid, and then you're like, where the fuck was the menu I just had? Because not only is it these menus, but there's even more fucking sub-menus. But once you begin to get your head around each menu and what it does and where it fits in, you really do have a lot, and I mean a lot of systems at your disposal that you will undoubtedly think at some point you understand, set up different things for, only to come back into it in like an hour's time, realizing that you had no fucking clue what you were doing. And now you have to go off and read the in-game encyclopedia to understand what the fuck you are doing, before giving up on that and opening YouTube and having somebody who already suffered through it telling you how to stop suffering. The point is, there are many systems, from tribe management where you can select the work patterns and job roles, technology trees for unlocking crafting items and recipes, mask trees for upgrading the masks and making your character more powerful, crafting menu, hunting menus and the skills. I mean, if freedom of choice is what you want, then this kind of is the jam you're missing. This game will give it to you in spades. You can set up workers in batches individually, or if you really want to, have one worker that you absolutely hate that just cleans out the toilets for the rest of their lives. You could set that up and automate that system. And by the way, yes, absolutely everything in this game gets used. Even the shit in the toilets. Yep, just moving on. For me to sit here and even try to explain all of these systems would honestly do both me and the game an injustice. Because I'll be real, I'm not sure even I know what the hell I'm doing half the time. And I've spent 10 hours, yes, 10 hours, purely on reading and watching YouTube videos on this game to try and understand it better. And yes, I am adding that to the final time because this has added to the game. This is one of those games that you really do need to go into with the understanding that it is going to take you a lot of learning and a lot of mastering. And all of this is without me even touching on the fact that this game is also playable in multiple ways, as I stated earlier, which means you could have even more or less choice based on what you pick. This game also has the ability to not only be played solo, but also co-op and online with multiple other people in one map. Similar to, I guess, Rust or something along those lines. Now, I'm not even going to pretend I have even remotely tried the PvP because, guys, I am getting up there in my years, and when I sit down to play a game, I like my space and I like my own sense of progression. I don't need some sweaty turbo virgin showing up to sort of dome me with better gear and raiding my last multiple hours of progression I've managed to sort of sit there and actually do, but that's just me, and if it's for you, then there's loads of videos on the subject and I would strongly suggest checking them out. However, if you are like me, yes, you can have your own space and even play with friends still and keep it all offline and away from the vile scourge of online lobbies. You, basically in the same way as your followers, invite your mates to your tribe and they can act as other tribe kind of leaders who can set stuff up, help manage the group, go on on adventures, kill bosses with you, and all sorts of aspects of exploration and automation. I personally have been playing it co-op, and it does really help to have someone else with you to sort of make the game feel a little bit less stressful early on, as it is someone else who can sort of suffer with you, which, as you learn, this is a vastly confusing game together. It's good to have someone else kind of there, which is probably a good way to segue onto... For all the praise I've given, I cannot stress that this game is not without its faults. There are several things I really disliked about this game. For example, the UI would be a huge starting point. It is cluttered, busy, and honestly feels like something reminiscent of a game from around 15 to 20 years ago. There are times I generally stared at the UI and thought to myself, I wonder if at some point this was supposed to be an MMO, because the design language used here is very similar to those kind of games. But nothing has irritated me more than this fucking quest log. This quest log is a mess, and honestly someone needs to be slapped for it. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes you do exactly what it says and it doesn't register that you've done that. So you just stare blankly at it, wondering if you're a dumbass or wondering if it's a piece of shit. And the devs kind of know this, and that's why they added a button that literally just bypasses the part of the quest you're on, which is actually cooked. Not to mention, why is this shit so goddamn wordy? I'm all for a detailed description, but when it comes down to my HUD, just give me the basics. Why have I got War and fucking Peace on the screen, bro? My other issue is the tribe management and how much time I did end up spending in menus, because I swear to God I spent more time in menus than I did doing literally anything else. If it wasn't the menu for the tribe, it was the crafting menu, and believe me, I play a lot of these types of games and I have never ever spent this much time looking at crafting menus than I did in this game. And in my case, it genuinely became like 20% going out and doing stuff and 80% menus and tribe management. And that could be on me. Maybe I'm slow or dumb, or maybe I should have picked a different Souls-like playstyle, and maybe I would have had a different experience if I did, and maybe I will do that in the future. But damn, this game honestly hit a point with me where it just became so fatigued with menus and organizing the tribe that I literally didn't want to play anymore. Now I want to stress, these are my problems with the game, and the things that I personally didn't gel with. And I'm going to highlight them because they are all things that made the experience I had with this game worse. And I think that every game could do with its issue being addressed as opposed to it being brushed under the carpet. This is also not me attacking the game or calling it bad, I'm just simply saying this game isn't my speed. These things put me off it personally, and that's completely fine. A great statement to say this more eloquently is that if it is art, it is not for all. And if it is for all, then it's not art. I can both dislike something, but also understand its value and merits that would make it good to someone else. So that's the real question here. Is this game for you? Well, that depends on you as a person. If you are someone who enjoys getting themselves so lost into management sims and crafting systems that time disappears, yeah, this game is going to give you a lot for your money. And honestly, you could kill hundreds if not thousands of hours on this game, which for its price point is a solid deal. There is a lot going on here, and it does it all really well if you have the time and energy and patience to sit down and learn it all. But if you're looking for a more streamlined and easy to digest kind of game closer to Valheim, Enshrouded, or Windrose, I would say this might not be what you're looking for. There is of course a crossover for some people, and I understand that, but it personally didn't click with me, and I clicked with those games really, really well. To finalize my own journey here, how much time did I manage to sink before I found myself at the end of my rope with this game? Well, as always, here's the transaction, and here's the time played, plus the additional reading time. It's not my best. It is enough for me to tell you it has incredible promise, scope, and replayability if it appeals to you. And sometimes that's the best kind of game, the one that scratches your itch, but not everybody's. But I am curious to know if you've played this game, how are you finding it? Also, if you would be so kind to like the video, it really does help me out. You can also subscribe if you want to, which helps my videos cross your path again. But for me, I'm off to go back into the depths and find more time sinks. I'll see you next week for another video, but if you do want more, you can click this little playlist here, and I'll take you through all my time sinks I have covered so far. See you next week, my dudes.